Hello everyone, Ohio Backroads. We're out here in the barn today. Just wanted to wish everybody a happy holidays and new year. Hope everybody had the best holidays and a happy new year, the best that could be expected. I'm out here in the barn today with my 2022 Harley-Davidson Street Glide that I picked up. It wasn't a Christmas present, but it was something that I've been looking at for a while and anticipating, and finally got one. Kind of got a little buyer's remorse. It wasn't my first picking bike. If you've seen some of the other videos I posted, my moto camping rant, this is the opposite of what I was talking about. I was wanting to reduce weight and be more able to more stealth camp and be a lot lighter and be able to get into places that I could go. But my wants and reality was two different things. And that's why I currently now have this new 22 Street Glide. Part of the reason was, you know, with my previous videos, if you've watched them, my Kawasaki Versus got damaged in a tornado. And I was starting to experience issues, and that was with the handling performance of the bike. I was getting a severe death wobble. After 5 sets of tires, after the repair, everything trying to strobe balance, dyna beads, different cases, changing the profile of the bike, I had a scary death wobble in the bike that made me decide, after seeking out help from other people that is very, that knows the fields on the Kawasaki, especially the Ninjas and the higher speed bikes, the issue I was having with the death wobbling, I decided to part ways with the Kawasaki. And what I decided, I tried to trade it in for another Kawasaki Versus, but my Kawasaki Versus, nobody would accept it on trade. I didn't even mention that how it was severely damaged and repaired. I just wanted to trade it in on an Africa Twin. DCT was my first choice, or another Versus, and then the Harley-Davidson. Which I mentioned in a previous video, the Harley-Davidson was at the top of my choice, in the top of my choice for bikes because of the dealer support and parts availability and everything. And I just wanted to be able to travel this summer and do what I did last summer and have the confidence if I needed a part that I could get it. So that's why I'm here. This is just a last minute rant. Just want to reach out to what few people watches my channel and say hello, I'm doing good. And I'd like to talk a little bit about my past 22 riding season and plans for my 23 riding season. So I got my grandson out here, my producer, Ethan.
Hi.
You producing this video, son? See, Papaw's gonna do a lot of riding this year, hopefully, huh? Mm-hmm. Did Papaw ride a lot last year?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully with the blessing of my family and friends and YouTube family, I'll have another safe riding year again. Ain't that right? Mm-hmm. So you produce this video, we're going to just do a little ranting, and we'll go from here.
Okay.
All right. So, kind of bounce around a little bit. The Kawasaki Versus I had, I tried to sell it privately by owner, and because I'm honest and upfront, I told people, I only had 2 phone calls on a bike, and I had it priced way below what it should have been selling for. And I told them, I said, hey, the bike had some damage, this, is that. So, ghosted after that. So I went to multiple dealers, Honda, Kawasaki, Yamaha. Nobody would even consider it on trade. So the Harley-Davidson dealer, unbelievable, give me what I wanted on trade for it, plus reduce their 2022 bike. So it was a win-win. This was not my first picking bike, but I'm thankful and I'm happy to have it. I'm not criticizing the bike. It's what worked out for me. You know, I just can't take the loss on the bike and just go out and buy a new bike. It just ain't happening. Economically, it just ain't going to happen. So let's talk about my 2022 riding season. In December 2nd of 21, I purchased the Kawasaki Versus New and rode it around a little bit and had, 800-900 miles on it. Then come May, I had a trip planned to Utah, Moab, that area with some friends, and we did the ride. excuse me. We did the ride out to Moab, and on the way out, we went to, we rode into Colorado. We went to Pikes Peak, which was unbelievable. If you have not ridden Pikes Peak or been in the area, you must see it. And we left Pikes Peak. We went to, left to Colorado Springs. We did not want to take the highway. We want to take the back way into Moab. So we got on State Route 50. State Route 50 over to, I can't remember the other state route, but we took through the Black Canyon. We went all 2-lane, back lane roads from Colorado Springs over to Junction, Grand Junction, Utah, or is that Colorado? Well, whatever. We took the back roads through the Black Canyons, over the mountains. We went over the Rockies, 2-lane roads. Just was one of the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen. At least I thought it was until I got to Moab. We went through Grand Junction, got back on Interstate 70, took 70 west to State Route 128, which took you in toward the Moab area. We first got on 128, we was communicating through our SENA systems, and I was like, wow, this is just desert. Not really, my expectations were high, but my reality was low what I was seeing. Within 20 miles, man, did the scenery change. Wow, we dropped into that Colorado River area that followed the canyons into Moab. It was majestic, beautiful, the most iconic ride that I could imagine. For myself, I'm speaking for myself, what I experienced. This is my opinion. That ride down 128 going into Moab was just iconic, second to none. And I hope you would have the opportunity to see it. It was just beautiful. So going into Moab, we camped at Lower Onion Creek Campground on the Colorado River. That was it was something from a David Mann picture. It's like if David Mann could paint a picture of bikes out in the desert along a river, that was the Lower Onion Creek. That photo would also have been good for the Sand Gulch Campground in Colorado, which was beautiful, and I have it in some videos. So once we spent the night in the Lower Onion Creek on 128, went on into Moab. We rode Arches National Park, Canyonland National Park, Dead Horse State Park. We went into, we went and rode the Schaefer Trail, which was just breathtaking, unbelievable. So that trip was the highlight of my 2022 year. 2022 was an 18,000 mile year for me. I rode a lot, and I was safe other than I had a little encounter with a tornado coming back from Moab. That's when my Versus got damaged. There's videos on that. So not to go into that too much, I wasn't on the bike when the tornado got the bike, but whatever, the bike got damaged, and that's what led up and why I have this Street Glide today. So went out to Moab, come back, and a lot of rides. It was an 18,000 mile year for me on the seat of a motorcycle. And every mile was blessed, and I'm thankful. Every mile I don't regret. Every mile was peace and serenity. Every mile is a mile I can get back. Those miles was probably Other than my grandchildren, the best thing that's ever happened to me. I try to reminisce on those miles, every mile, but I can't. You can't remember everything, but if you can, try to remember every mile you ride. You won't get them back. It's like an odometer, it goes up. It does not go back. So ride and enjoy. So I rode out to Moab this year. I rode Georgia, Virginia, Pennsylvania. I rode Tennessee, Ohio. I had multiple iconic rides. I attempted 4 iron butts this year. I completed 3. My first one was to Utah, going out to Moab. My second one was to Blue Ridge Parkway. I left my house in Ohio and I ridden to Shenandoah Valley, Shenandoah National Park. I rode Skyline Drive up and back and got on the Blue Ridge Parkway and ended up somewhere in around Asheville. And it was 1,005 miles that day that I'd ridden. And I had took some, I didn't drive straight through. I jumped up and rode the triple nickel, Ohio 555, and a lot of multiple rides. That was just iconic. The weather this year for every ride was just perfect. You know, I had to run into with a tornado in Kansas area, but hey, you know what? I didn't get hurt. The bike got damaged. Hey, whatever. But most of my rides was just beautiful. So I'm just rambling on. So I went to, rode to Blue Ridge Parkway, Shenandoah Valley. That was my second iron butt. Went and rode the Dragon, the Moonshiner. I rode the Cherhola Skyway. I was to Bryson, North Carolina. I was all over multiple times this year. Rode the Nada Tunnel or Nada Tunnel in Kentucky. I rode all down through Kentucky, Jackson County, Clay County, all down through there. Just beautiful rides. And one of the other rides I went on that I really loved, and I had the opportunity to go, I went to Sturgis this year. So that was my third completed iron butt. I left my house here at 12 a.m. and rode straight through to the South Dakota Hall of Fame, which is a little over 1,000 miles. There's a video out there, and in every mile, I enjoyed every mile. There's not one point I wanted to get off the bike. I enjoyed all of it. So I rode out to South Dakota. That was my third completed iron butt this year. I got up the next morning. I rode into the Badlands. I rode the Badlands, went to Wall Drugs into Rapid City. Rapid City, I rode up into the Black Hills. I rode Iron Mountain Road, Needles Highway. I went out to Devil's Tower. I rode the canyon out there. Spearfish Canyon. I rode Spearfish Canyon. I rode out to Devil's Tower, and I went on past Devil's Tower. I don't know how many hours I went past. So I did a lot of riding this year, and all of it was great. But I will tell you, this is my opinion. I hope I don't get too much criticism. But this is my opinion from somebody from Southern Ohio. I've not pushed my bike. Most people push their bike, true bikers have pushed their bike backwards farther than I've ridden. But I will say, from my personal experience, my opinion, some of the most beautiful riding in the country, and I've not been to the Grand Tetons or Yellowstone or none of these other national parks. I'm just speaking from what I've mentioned and I've rode. Some of the best riding in the country, in my opinion, is right here on the East Coast. We have Tennessee, West Virginia, Kentucky, Georgia, which is iconic. The Blue Ridge Parkway is the most breathtaking ride, whether you ride it north or south, morning or evening. You will get a different perspective on the light, the colors. If you go north, you get a different perspective. If you go south, you get a different perspective. It's just iconic. You have all of the Blue Ridge Mountains to ride. And these are hundreds or thousands of miles. And you could just ride and ride and ride to your heart's content. Now, my experience going out to South Dakota, it was beautiful. But I was kind of disappointed. When I got out, what saved my expectations of going out to Sturgis? The rally was fine. If you go out there for the rally, that's great. But I went out there more for the ride and the rally. So the Badlands saved my trip. That Badlands really was beautiful and exceeded my expectations. But the disappointment I had is when I got into the Black Hills. When I went into Custer State Park, I rode Iron Mountain Road. Iron Mountain Road was beautiful, but there's probably only 8 to 10 miles that you would say, wow. Other than that, it dropped off into rolling prairie, rolling hills, kind of like I'd see in my area of western Indiana or eastern Indiana or southern Ohio. So when you come out of Rapid City and you ride Iron Mountain Road, it dumps you off into Custer State Park. Well, I rode into Custer State Park and got on Needles Highway. Needles Highway, I'm not taken from it, but it was beautiful. But there's only like 5, 7, 8 miles that's iconic when you get up into the Needles. You just ride through grasslands, wooded pines. Then when you get up in the Needles, it's pretty. But we're only talking 8 miles, 8 to 10 miles at the most. You drop off out of the Needles and you're back down into pines or rolling meadows. So, been there, done it. But if I went out there specifically for a ride, adventure, and experience, I'd have been disappointed. Why would I be disappointed? Well, maybe because I'm acclimated to riding the Blue Ridge Mountains, the East Coast, where you can ride thousands of miles of what you experience out there in 8 to 20 miles. I rode Spearfish Canyon. I rode into Spearfish early one morning, jumped on Spearfish Canyon, and I was riding, and I was looking around, and I was like, this is neat. I stopped off at one of the pull-offs, and there was a waterfall with a little water coming off. And and again, this was during Sturgis, there was bikes sitting everywhere, and people was just gooing at this waterfall. And I look up, and I'm like, I don't get it. Cumberland Falls, I've seen falls in Tennessee and Kentucky, bigger, better, more majestic, that wouldn't get a second look. But I was there for the experience, and I'm not taking away from that. I'm just going by from my experience. This is my opinion. I was not impressed with Spearfish Canyon. Your average secondary road in southeastern Kentucky is as majestic and as pretty as Spearfish Canyon and the Black Hills. So I leave Spearfish Canyon and I ride out the Devil's Tower. I get out, well, I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. I'm rambling on. I went to the Mount Rushmore. I pulled up, I was like, is this the Mount Rushmore or kind of like a model? I was expecting more, something bigger, something wow. It wasn't as big as I thought. It was an experience to see it, but I was expecting more. When I rode out to Crazy Horse is huge. It's what I was expecting Mount Rushmore to be. But again, this is just a little old country boy from eastern Ohio from southwest Ohio that really ain't seen a whole lot in this world. But what I have seen, I'm comparing and I'm experiencing it to you, and I could be wrong or right. It's whatever you take from it. So I seen Mount Rushmore, and I was like, is this Mount Rushmore? And this guy standing beside me goes, why, yeah. I was like, okay, no big deal. I was just asking. I'm looking at it. So I rode out the Crazy Horse, and wow, that Crazy Horse, it'd never be done in my lifetime, but it's going to be iconic. Crazy Horse is going to be something to see. So my fourth iron butt, okay, I'm sorry, back to what I was going to say, Devil's Tower. I rode out and seen Devil's Tower. It was a long haul from Spearfish Canyon. I did it all the same day. I rode up on the Devil's Tower, and I was looking, and I was like, I don't get it. And the reason I didn't get it, because I went to Utah and rode Moab. Rode the 128. If Devil's Tower was in Utah, it wouldn't get a second look. Devil's Tower is unique because it's where it shouldn't be. But that formation and that style of erosion is every mile, every corner, and around every bend in Utah, around Moab and Canyonlands, Arches National Park. But that's just my opinion. But after seeing it all, if I wanted to, for iconic riding, I have the best riding from what I've mentioned, 5 hours from my house. Smoky Mountain National Park, Blue Ridge Parkway, Charlotte Skyway, the Moonshiner, Pennsylvania, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I was shocked how beautiful Pennsylvania is out around the Gettysburg area. Kentucky, from Nada Tunnel into Moorhead, them rides out there, beautiful, just beautiful. Around London, Kentucky, you got the rattlesnake down there, all these iconic rides. But like I said, you can ride thousands of uninterrupted miles in the Blue Ridge Mountains, in the mountains of Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia. You got the New River Gorge, the Newfound Gap. You have all these iconic rides that once you get in them, you're there. It ain't like going through Spearfish Canyon that's however many miles long. Yeah, it's pretty, but not what I expected. Needles Highway, Iron Mountain Road, that was okay. Maybe I'm spoiled because I live out here in the mountains. Colorado was right there with them. Now, the difference between the Blue Ridge Mountains and Colorado is 1,200 miles. Within 300 miles, I can blame Blue Ridge Mountains. I got to ride 1,200 miles to get out to Denver. So, Colorado wins. Other than going out to the rally, that's all it had to offer me. The ride didn't do nothing for me. So if I had to say there was a winner between the three, I would take the Smoky Mountain area, Blue Ridge Parkway, that area out here, 3-1, because it's so beautiful. I've rode the Blue Ridge Parkway 3 times, and every time is a new experience. Every time of the day, the colors change. It's a new experience. Time of the year, the fall colors, the lemons, the yellow colors of the leaves is something you'd have to personally experience. You can watch it on video. It does not do it justice. So that's all this little rant I wanted to do. Just kind of share my experiences and my rides and my opinions. And this is my opinions. Yeah, there's people out there, once again, that's pushed their bikes backwards farther than I've ridden. And I'm happy, and I watch a lot of YouTube, and I hope to learn from you. But I have a small channel, and I hope somebody gets something from my channel. But my channel is more based on being an archive for my family, my kids and my grandkids, and say, hey, I want to see what Papa did. But I want to reach out to a couple channels. I won't endorse a channel unless I think it is a good channel. And I've mentioned before, Papa Biker. Papa Biker is a great channel. He is a great representative of the biker culture and community. What he posts is sincere. His channel is quality. Papa Biker, check out his channel. He's a great guy. I've personally met him, and he's going to go far. And I just found a new channel that's really, really inspired me a lot. And that is Preacher Moto Man. Preacher Moto Man, I found your channel, and I just want to let you know that I think what you're doing is good. You're combining the motorcycle aspect of it with the faith aspect of it. And I commend you on that. I think you will go far too. You have a great channel. And, you know, everybody can relate to what you're doing. You're just a simple guy, like most of the people that's watching these channels. And you're just not a content producer. You're sincere. You're like Papa Biker. You're sincere. And this is no way whatsoever a hit of their channels, but I like channels that I can relate to as an everyday working class lay person. So keep up the good work. Keep the videos coming. Papa Biker, I hope to do a ride with you in 2023. And the main thing is in 2023, I hope to have a safe and prosperous riding season. That's all I can ask. And on the 2022 Street Glide, it's got like 8 miles on it. I've only ridden around the block. I did put a new Harley-Davidson Tour Pack on it. It's wet. It's out here in the barn, covered up. Preacher Moto Man, you got a nice setup for your bike. You know, you got a hog den. I got a hog pen. My barn's a wreck, and I got, you know, I just have an old farm barn, but it's all I got. But it'll work. Bike's all wet because my barn's not insulated, and I had a cover on it. But hey, it is what it is. But I will show you something. I went today to my local Harley dealer, and I picked up a poker chip for Preacher Moto Man. This is one in the mail tomorrow. This is from Queen City, Harley-Davidson, Cincinnati, Ohio. And, oh, we dropped the chip. I don't expect the chip back. I went and bought this because I wanted you to have it. I'm not a chip collector, don't need a chip back. That's why I bought this. So, my plans for this year for riding is I'm going to go back out west. I'm going to stay southwest. I'm going to ride from here. I'm going to go back out to Denver. I'm going to ride the $1 Million Highway. I'm going to go into Las Vegas. I want to camp in Death Valley. I'm going to come out of Death Valley, come back into Las Vegas, and I'm going to come back through Monument Valley. I'm going to go to the Four Corners. I'm going to come down into Texas, get on Route 66, back up through Oklahoma. I want to see the Blue Well. I want to see the Cadillac Ranch. And that's going to be my first ride of the year. I'm going to make my way back home. My second ride that I want to do is I want to ride the Natchez Trace. I want to ride from Nashville to Natchez, Mississippi. I want to ride moto camp and experience the Natchez Trace. I've wanted to do it last year. I just didn't have time to do it. But I think I'm going to get a chance to do it this year, if it's the Lord's willing. I got an issue going on with my leg. I got to get my leg fixed. But as long as I hold this 900-pound bike up, I'll be okay. In that one video, I talked about how I wanted to shed weight. Well, I guess I didn't go, well, I guess I went opposite of what I talked about in that video. I went from a 580-pound bike to a 900-pound bike. That's not what I wanted to do, but because of the economics part of it and not wanting to take too much major loss on the bike, that's why I have this bike here today. I'm thankful to have it. I'm going to give it a chance. If I don't like it, I'll sell it. I'll take a loss on this one. It won't be as much as big as loss as I would on the Versus, but I'll take a loss on this one. And well, that's my rant from Ohio Back Roads, and I'd like to wish everybody, a happy new year. And if you're getting out and riding for the first time in 2023, please be safe, wear all your gear, and watch out, and hope to see you on the road. And once again, this is Ohio Backroads. I'll keep posting some videos. You keep posting videos. And hopefully we can meet again this fall and talk about our 2023 riding season. Ohio Backroads, I wish you the best, and happy riding.